went up 13 years ago. They called them gunshot detectors as the cover story. They now admit they're listening to us. It's all a big joke at the higher echelons of the police department. I even had the police chief in here during a break joking with the commander he brought along one time about it. The commander started talking, and the police chief said, "You're here to be with me and watch my back, not to talk, not to tell this slave what we're doing." It's so much fun to be a federally appointed police chief. Yeah, they had a federal board tell the city they'd give them money if they appointed this police chief. It's the same in every major city. So here is the total surveillance bondage system, and the establishment is laughing at all of you, laughing all the way to their eugenics bank with it. But it says it would be a stretch. Yeah, it's a stretch to have everything you're putting in your trash tracked. You know, it's a stretch to have everything you do in your home being listened to by Google over the microphones in your computer, and they admitted it 4 years ago. Yeah, it's a stretch to say that the schools are training kids to come home and boss their parents around about the environment and to write reports at school about how bad their parents are, training them to be spies against the family. That's not Big Brother. Yeah, it's a stretch. No, it's total Big Brother. It would be a stretch to say that Big Brother will hang out in Cleveland's trash cans, but the city plans to sort through curbside trash to make sure residents are recycling and fine them $100 if they don't. This was always the stated plan, and I would talk about it on the radio and get little emails and calls going, "You're a kook. You know, the NSA doesn't exist." Oh, yeah, just 10 years ago, the media said it didn't even exist. NSA didn't exist. That's what they do. Oh, there's no world government. There's no Bilderberg Group. There's no Trilateral Commission. The banks aren't stealing money. You know, what happened when whistleblowers for 11 years went to the Securities and Exchange Commission with all of the fraud of Madoff, robbing upwards of $100 billion? They just said it doesn't exist. Sit down and shut up. It's a class of criminals at every level going completely hog wild. Continuing here, the move is part of a high-tech collection system the city will roll out next year with new trash and recycling carts embedded with radio frequency identification chips and barcodes. Yes, and they share the fines with the mafia trash companies. If you didn't know, the big trash companies are some of the most mafia-connected groups, well, you better do some research. The chips will also allow city workers to monitor how often residents roll carts to the curb for collection. If a chip shows a recyclable cart hasn't been brought to the curb in weeks, a trash supervisor will sort through the trash for recyclables. That's right. They're going to send an agent, a code enforcer, out to your house. You're going to do this, and they're going to come and do home inspections under the carbon tax law. And in 1 week, if you don't make changes to your house, the government, without a court, forfeits your home and evicts you and takes it. That's in the bill that passed the House, not the Senate. This is total tyranny. And they've got huge trained SWAT teams that have you saw the reports of people all over the country being killed because they wouldn't open their door for the census worker. They just call the cops, and the SWAT team just comes and knocks your door down and shoots you in your house. And then they do high fives and feel real manly and inject some roids, and then go home and shoot their kids up with mercury-filled shots and drink fluoride water and die of cancer themselves, and they love it. They love being mind-controlled. They love their petty power, and they just love all the power their masses are going to give them. They just can't wait to get even more. It's so much fun to be part of tyranny. And it goes on to say you will get visits by them and a $100 fine per infraction if they catch one thing that's supposed to be recycled. In that regular trash can, you're getting a $100 fine. And, of course, you see all the reports about people losing their houses for less than $100 fines. It doesn't even go to court. Just you don't pay the fine, didn't even know there was a fine. $300, $100, $400, you've seen the reports. Your house is gone. And again, you try to resist, SWAT teams will drop by and line you and your family up and just blow holes in you. Yeah! And don't try to videotape the cops, even though it's your own property and there's no perception of privacy. They'll take you to prison for that. Okay, that's just the way it works. And in 860-plus cities, the illegal aliens can drunk drive and be above the law because they're here helping with the team. They're all going to get voting rights soon, and they're going to vote to take your guns, and you don't turn them in. Those SWAT team guys see you as the enemy. They're coming. It's a lot of fun to run the New World Order, isn't it? And it goes on. They're going to dig through your trash and everything else. So you can go read that full report for yourself. All right, I'm really starting to get mad. You know, I just covered one article, and we've just blown through a whole segment. And this is what happens psychologically to me every day. I read this stuff in the afternoon the day before. I read it at night. I read it at the morning. I come in. The guys have found a bunch of news I hadn't even seen. I sit here for about 30 minutes going back over it. And then I just get freaked out and upset because I just scanned over probably about 75, 80, 100, I don't know, I haven't counted them, articles. And I just see pure evil everywhere, pure lies everywhere, pure corruption. They're getting ready for more pushing the flu shot, lying on the news and saying it's mandatory. And housewives will line up and their kids will get paralyzed or have Guillain-Barrés or have seizures. And if it's a little baby, it's even better. When the little baby goes to the clinic and gets the shot and has a convulsion in the car and has blood running out their nose, as tens of thousands do every time this happens, when they come back, the CPS comes with the cops and they take all the woman's little kids that are with her there in the waiting room. Not only do they make blood run out of baby's nose, not only do they savage baby's brain, admittedly, not only do they give them Gardasil shots, killing them deader than a hammer, but if your baby happens to survive, the CPS with big fat pedophiles are going to have their way with them because they love it. They love it, and they know full well they're brain damaging them. They know full well what they're doing, and they love it. They love brain damaging your children. They love poisoning your water, and they love taking your kids once they degenerate them. It's so much fun. But hey, I'm not supposed to get mad by this. I'm supposed to like it. I'm supposed to love Bush 3 months into the Iraq invasion saying the war's over, and how Obama did the same hoax, and the public's just sucking down their lithium and Prozac and fluoride and loving it. Oh, and they can't wait to have their pension funds taken. They're just begging, oh, please rape us. We are back live. Thank you for joining us. Bob Chapman coming up in the third hour. I've got some big news concerning the Bilderberg Group coming up in the next segment. But we know that the H1N1 shot was a hoax, a fraud. British Medical Journal, EU Health Commission, Dr. Wolfgang Wodarg, the entire commission agreed there were payoffs made by Big Pharma to government officials in the U.S., England, and Europe to lie and push the hoax of a dangerous vaccine with a 10-fold increase in convulsions. Many of the children get permanent epilepsy from it because it causes brain inflammation, chronic brain inflammation. That's what they're doing. And they're back. They're saying, we're getting ready again. The fall's coming. We're back with the H1N1 shots. We're going to push them on you again and create all the fear and try to make everybody take this stuff. They never stop their crimes. The state is a rotten creation. And it was once said that war is the health of the state. War is the engine of the corrupt state. It is the growth hormone of the cancer that is big government. And speaking of war, let's get into that right now. Here's some interesting articles. Here's one. Orwell in charge. Kucinich compares Iraq exit to Bush's mission accomplished. Congressman Dennis Kucinich today challenged the notion that removing combat brigades but leaving 50,000 U.S. troops in Iraq constitutes an end to combat operations, let alone an end to the war. A press release sent to Raw Story on Thursday states, who is in charge of operations in Iraq now? George Orwell? A war based on lies continues to be a war based on lies today. And continuing, here's another headline, Iraq exit, rebranding the occupation. Here's another one. French news agency. Despite new mission, U.S. troops still in the fight in Iraq. And the AP reported yesterday, well, they're going to have private CIA and contractors working with the local police. Yes, snatch and grab, torture squads, death squads, assassination squads, black sites. This is what America is becoming. This is what they're setting up here with top secret USA, with close to 1 million secret private spies working with contractors and the CIA and getting huge government no-bid contracts out of it with a $2 trillion a year total budget. You know, on budget, it's $1.1 trillion, but the rest of the budget for defense is $900 billion. $2 trillion a year, and this military doesn't belong to us. It doesn't fight for us. It fights for the Ken Lay, Bernie Madoff types that run this global banking Ponzi scheme. And I was listening to NPR yesterday, and it's just all these simpering, snake-like, hiss-like, all to be calm, and Oh, we've got to hit Iran. They've got nukes. They're going to get us. Let's go to Jeffrey Goldberg. You know, they didn't tell the listeners, oh, this is the guy that helped propagandize about a non-existent WMDs. And he went on and, you know, just, and they had the other guest on. They both agreed Iran is bad and is going to have to be hit. It's sad and we don't like it, but it's liberal. We've got to have a new war. And the combat